Today in Los Angeles, I'm on my X, doing my usual music videos to highlight my art therapy. I've released a new song. If you want, it's on YouTube. But while I am on X, enjoying booty hole pictures and lots of gay porn, I happen to scroll past the news feed, and what do I see? The White House Correspondents' Dinner has been interrupted by a gunman. Everyone else is going to take a different angle than what I'm going to take. Okay. It's obviously a tragedy. You can get that out of the way. It's a tragic event. Blah blah blah. Okay, let's get to the nitty gritty of this. Surprise, bitches! Surprise! You were in fancy dress. You were in tuxedos. You had fancy food. It was catered. You had some drinks in you. You probably popped a Xanax or two, just to get the edge off. You're already nervous. Oh, you're gonna tell jokes? You're gonna tell jokes. Okay. Surprise, bitches! Surprise! But it's the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And the White House did what? You forget who's president? You forget? You think stuff like that just flies? All the jokes or everything? Here's the truth of the matter. There's always intelligence. Always. They shut down blocks. They shut down blocks around this event. For a single man to get through means dozens of people had to look the other way. Dozens. Now do you know? Now do you see? As a blogger and member of the Free Press, in a way, I look at this and I say, this is yet another wake up call to these reporters and news people that attacks on freedom of the press happen, but they're coordinated by the government. You gathered all in one room and you didn't think that was going to be an issue? Do you know the power that you wield over the American people? You don't recognize it as power because, you know, people don't bow when they see you on the street. But you're the voice of the people, the voice they listen to, instead of the voices that they probably should listen to, like the voice of common sense, or the voice of, hey, I get a vibe about this. During this presidency, you wanted to go to a fancy event. I keep saying fancy because your eyes light up when you hear that word. Ooh, the correspondence dinner? I can bring out the good clothes. Yay! You didn't bring out the flak jacket? You didn't pack a first aid kit? You didn't think, damn, that's an expensive dress that I might have to rip into shreds so that I can maybe staunch a wound? Tie a tourniquet. Oh, that's right. That's not your skill set because you think you live in a civilized country. You think you live in a world where the government plays fairly. I'm a veteran. I can tell you the government doesn't play fairly. I was on a train reading a book quietly. Drama, reading a book quietly. Chair, across, counting the minutes till I got to my destination. And you know what the government did? They had an old woman parked at the front of the train, come all the way back to put her hands underneath my clothes, setting off my PTSD, ejecting me from the train. Now, to people who have heard this story over and over and over again, I do not apologize. I want to make it clear the American government sets things up all the time. Sometimes they're small and relatively innocuous as get that brown rich boy off the fucking train. No one will go to the streets protesting over that. It doesn't make the news. But then the American government says, oh my god, there's going to be a gunman at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Shh, 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 shh. We'll just pretend like he didn't get the memo. Oh, he's like 250 feet away? Oh, okay, okay. Um, I guess we'll have to look into it. But wait, just wait. And it goes on like that, on like that, on like that. That is the country you live in. I'm the American veteran who has to, in a way, convince these peasants now's the time to remember that the pitchfork takes more than hay. That you need to start training for dissidents in your fucking area. You need to start training in schools for this kind of thing. You need to start training in the workplace for this kind of thing. And yes, even reporters are going to have to learn how to do first aid. I mean, these are people who dream and fantasize about being a war correspondent. Oh, you get awards for that. The bravery. The bravery. Do you know you're at war? Here? That there's a domestic war? A war of ideologies? Did you know that? Well, now you do. Everything that is done in this country has been planned. There are no random events. Even the front desk attendant being the cute, hunky guy for 2 to 3 days in a row. I don't know, like he got extra shifts. I could sense that there was going to be an issue because it couldn't last forever. So every White House Correspondents' Dinner that you went to, regardless who was the president, you said, but I am wearing a tuxedo. I haven't finished the hors d'oeuvres. You never said, yeah, I live in a totalitarian regime under the veneer of democracy. Just a thin layer. You go a little bit deeper and then you see No, these are thugs. These are well organized thugs. These people sign on to this job to sometimes be bad at it. Because when they're bad at the job, they can manipulate things further, strike fear in the hearts of the voice of America. Isn't that what it's all about? Sure, there's the violence, but now it's a threat of the violence. You're a reporter. Do you feel safe now? Do you recognize that the country that you thought that you could live in has fallen apart? That you had active enemies within your own government who work to undermine the country that you live in? You just report the news. You don't have a stake in it. It's just words coming out your mouth. But now, maybe you can form your own opinion. Maybe this event changes your opinion on a lot of things. We need to be prepared for civil war. We need to be prepared. We're not going to all put on our colors of grays and blues and head off to a battlefield. We're above that now. We're just going to intimidate one another on either side. Thugs. Thugs with badges. Thugs with badges who had to look the other way to make this shit happen. Dozens, dozens of people. Is that the news? Is that the news story? No, the news story is that a gunman, stormed the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It's never. Wow. Dozens of federal agents looked the other way while this was happening. That seems a little bit like corruption. Shouldn't we talk about this? No, just focus on the gunman. Wow. So, what exactly is your job as a reporter if you're not going to report all the news? But no, it's not news if everyone knows. It's not news if everyone is too cowardly to do something about it. Certainly not to talk about it. So here we are. Me personally, I'm just a veteran with PTSD from military sexual trauma, so I don't mind talking about it. I think it's kind of important to say the truth as often as possible on record in order for a gunman to attack the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Dozens of federal agents had to be derelict of duty in order to make that happen. I don't know. Doesn't that seem a little. That T word? That T word, it's at the tip of my tongue. Um, Treason. That would be treason. If they colluded with a foreign party, what if the foreign party is just the American government itself? I mean, what do we call that? It's not just a simple disagreement. It's something else. Now, there is room in America, since it's a big country, to have difference of opinion. There really isn't room for a federal agency that just picks and chooses when it wants to do its job in the interest of people. I'm sorry, were reporters not American citizens? They were American citizens. Are they public figures that are considered necessary to the democratic process? Yes, they are. And yet, the American people do not protest this. They do not react to this. Veterans have always had the idea that the good life is find your bunker, stick your head in the fucking sand, and watch as the country tears itself apart around you. It's not get your hands dirty and get on a microphone, not just run for office, but be the office. I hate this. I hate this because I'm supposed to be conversing. I'm supposed to be focusing on my space program, not focusing on repairing a tattered little flag. But if it wasn't for that tattered little flag, my mother would not have met my father under the guise of mere tired, weak, or you're poor, those yearning to breathe free. Afforded both of them life, luxury, children, some health, not all health, unfortunately. So here I am, that veteran, battered and bruised by the American people themselves, still sitting in a fucking room with some needle and thread trying to repair that fucking tattered flag that you people keep tearing to shreds. Over what exactly? As I said, 50 states could be more. 50 states can also be less. I will say this every time. The United States of America is a nebulous term. It could be anything. It could be 100 states, it could be 200 states, or it could be two states. During my service in the military, I was injured. I was injured, physically injured, and it was right at that point where it was. So you want a gun, right? I mean, people mess with you and all that. I mean, you want a gun, right? These people try to sell me on a gun. That's the whole point of being in the military is We have the weapons, we have the guns, we have the power. Me, as the intellectual and who was already injured, said, no, I don't want the gun. The reason why I didn't want the gun was because I saw that it was false security. They sell you on guns, they never sell you on community, they never sell you on conversation. So when it came down to it, when I left a group of young men armed with guns, locking the door, and thinking, "Oh, I'm safe. I'm safe. I've got the gun, right? I've got the gun." I walked out thinking, "You're surrounded by stressed people who make mistakes, stressed people who act out, and there is no talking back to a sharp weapon." When I made my earlier comment on I have to teach peasants to pick a pitchfork, that doesn't mean that I'm talking about teaching people how to fight. Sometimes that battle is just internal. Maybe the way some people will fight is simply remove federal funding. Stop talking about these federal agencies that are corrupt, morally bankrupt. If your superior ordered you to look the other way while a gun citizens who've gathered in celebration, in an affirmation of their citizenry, you're supposed to be a whistleblower and say, no, that's not what we do in our country. In our country, we're allowed to make joke at the expense of our leaders because they are humans, not gods. They make mistakes. Sometimes they're goofy. Sometimes they make errors that make us think, wow, you have a lot of power and we should question that. And now these people are intimidated. Oh, I'm sorry. In your mind, for letting this happen, you are educating them on corruption, on the price of American citizenry. Something to think about. Obviously, I am glib. My heart goes out to anyone who was injured. But that's a easy thing to talk about. It's not who, what, where, when, how. How did this happen? We all know why, but how is the issue? Because how involves many people, local and federal, to let this happen. The injured, scared reporters piece themselves back together, crawl back to their studios, the news desk, and they'll go from there. But perhaps now they'll know the level of corruption that lies at the heart of the American government right now. Perhaps they'll know that they have to tell people the truth. It doesn't matter if you're going to a press party, surprise bitches, gunmen. It doesn't matter if you're going to a movie theater, surprise bitches, gunmen. It doesn't matter if you are letting your children go to a school, surprise bitches, gunmen. No one wants to wake up. No one wants to change things. You don't want to militarize the entire fucking world. I get it. You want your safe spaces. And in some cases, you have earned that. But the world is a safe place unless you're willing to be a part of the solution. It's easy to say things like abolish ICE. It's hard to say, I need to be a part of that job too. I need to actually ask these questions. I need to enforce naturalization laws with proper training. I need to ask how these people are being trained. I need to be part of that discussion. I can't just protest when things go wrong. I have to be a part of how things go right. The social contract that Americans just forget about sometimes because mostly they have to scrape and scrape every fucking penny to pay for a life that is just miserable for them. I'll talk about, my breakfast today. I go to get my waffle because I love my waffles. And the usual hunky guy was not there. It was the woman. And she always tries to talk to my dogs every chance she gets. But I was just like, I still want my waffle because I paid for it. And in that fucking dining hall, it was empty except for a woman there. The television was on. She was barely watching it. She just sat there, taking up space. Not really doing anything. Not really there. I got my waffle and I left. Yeah, it's the PTSD, but deeper than that, it was just the idea that for some people, that is life. I know it doesn't seem like much that I just do my podcasts and I'm not out there amongst people trying to make their lives easier, speaking to them one on one. I could do that. I could. But then you look at an incident like what just happened with the White House Correspondents' Dinner and you say, that is an indication of how dangerous it is to think differently, how dangerous it is to challenge and question things like authority out loud. Ooh, you should be scared. But I have PTSD from various sexual trauma, so, you know, I'm more concerned about being raped than, attacked by the government, really. Priorities. So, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to find a way to do that. Oh my god. Oh, I do not want to be drafted into your fucking American Civil War. It's beneath me. It's beneath me. Oh, I fucking hate this. But I'm not the only person who wants to fucking talk about this. The only person saying, yeah, the FBI and CIA shut down for for blocks, every fucking inch of the town. That town is locked down in a way that nothing else is. It's not been a part of a state. It's the District of Columbia. It is so far removed, and yet still something like that happens. Only goes to, okay, so freedom of information letter. Do you mind if I ask who was on duty that day and how many people saw this, saw that? Hey, there's a person going by elevated heart rate, temperature, blah 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 blah. Picking up some metal here. Are we going to pretend like they're scanning the streets for guns and drugs and all? Are you telling me that this wasn't on a message board or you fucking rhetoric beforehand? That every fucking gun purchase from coast to coast and somewhere low. Come on. That might have flown in, I don't know, early 1900s. We're like almost, we're close to fucking 3,000 yards to 2,100. Because we're getting to a point where it's either you accept that we want to in the future or just want to play the games. I love video games. I don't like the games that America plays. Because it's shock, outrage, and then they skip straight to acceptance. The whole Boston tea movement, the whole we will not tolerate taxation without representation. We will not be intimidated by a foreign fucking area. None of it until now, and now everyone is so distracted, so distracted. You have to work 9 to 5, and your whole thing is, well, if I don't work extra hours, I will have the lights turned off. But if you work extra hours, you're not going home, are you? That should kind of tell you something. America has to change. America has to accept that you can't just be Joe the plumber. You have to be Joe the plumber and Joe the politician and Joe the village leader and Joe the guardsman and Joe the fucking everyday chore person. We talk about, oh, we have to work extra hours in America, or, overtime, 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 instead of there's some things that are common good. Having roads that don't have potholes is a common good. Maybe making it out of different material would be I don't know, a boon, a benefit to not have to deal with that. Maybe we should look at it as we need to fight against overtime. We need to actually reduce working hours for people. I can't make that decision for every single person. I cannot. But the idea that you are so consumed with being Sonic the Hedgehog running through danger, trying to pick up some coins to maybe level up, or just make sure your refrigerator is running, instead of focusing on the fact that your town is actually run by corrupt people, your government is run by corrupt people. There are miserable people in your in the fucking dining hall, almost catatonic, not really staring at screen, not really saying anything or doing anything, just there. If I didn't have such terrible PTSD from military sexual trauma and very recent sexual aggression from those goddamn women, I would have been a human person and just gone over and said, Miss, are you okay? But I did notice that the other person who was there, who was a woman, she didn't do it either. So both of us looked the other way. It's just too much. It's just too much. Such a hassle. Talking to people is a hustle. I hate doing it. I hate talking to people. If I can avoid talking to people, I usually do. I usually do. When you don't talk to people, you don't get a chance to say, yeah, I know that's a problem, but okay, this is a solution. Whatever this gunman's issue is, I'm sure there was a reasonable solution for it. You lost your job or whatever. I know what the situation is, but here's a better paying job that you might actually enjoy. Or you dislike the government. Okay, well, maybe you should be the government. Every person who has a bone to pick with government wants to be government. No one wants to say it that way. It's easy to attack the people in power. It's a lot hard to say, well, I want to wield the power too. Or I have power that I'm wielding. If But that takes words, empathy, pity, perhaps. You don't want to have those conversations with neighbors. You need to choose better neighbors. Understand that every time that you never fucking talk to people, they fester. People fester. They stew in their anger. They never think about, well, if you just picked up guitar. I'm huge into art therapy, especially as a veteran. I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a veteran, if you're just a person who's angry all the time, have you tried like the drums? You can get out a lot of aggression on the drums. I highly recommend it. Join a metal band. I don't know. Do something with your life. Here, this person just chose. I choose violence. Okay. That's how Americans deal with things. They never say, isn't there a state where things are different? Or if I'm not being heard, then I need to speak up. Everyone's ignoring me and my problems. You never tell people your problems. So how can they know? America is in pain. America is suffering. You could turn to doctors, you can turn to politicians, but you're still gonna have to talk about it. Why is America in pain? If you work a 9 to 5, you pay all your bills in time, and you're still miserable. And what is going on? Hmm? What is For some, it's the loneliness of you have everything taken care of, share the joy, no one to share the sadness. some people, it's just a lack of challenge. For others, they want more out of life and they feel as if there is no change and just no let up. In America, it's a lot easy. I'm sorry. Ooh, yeah, fucking English. Oh, I cannot fucking speak. It's a lot easier to say that you want to be rich than just be happy. Even I don't want to say, I just want to be happy. So I have to take my own advice of if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, challenge the things that matter the most to you. And if safety, security matters to people in America, then you're gonna have to fucking talk about it. You're gonna have to fucking come together for it in ways that you've never thought about. What just happened in, I guess, Washington D.C. is baptism by fire for some of these press people. Maybe it was just words on a teleprompter before, but now it means something different. Personally, I can't believe that I spent nearly an hour talking about gun violence in America instead of talking about our space program, which is lagging because NASA and SpaceX refuse to use light based technology. Not only solar sails, just pure light traveling from one area to the next. Travel to the moon, travel to Mars, travel to fucking Venus if you wanted. Light data stream. How hard is that for you people to fucking figure out? Keep looking for fucking spaceships in the fucking sky. You never actually say, God damn, is every signal that you have floating around terrestrial? That should give you something to think about. Why would you need a physical form? You could be the fastest thing in the universe. Omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, everywhere, ever knowing, all powerful. Are we alone in the universe? No. But do we need to stop looking at physical form as an indication of intelligence? Yes. We need to move past that and say energy is alive. A space program like Mars, the one that I own, focuses on that. Focuses on the idea that you thought of portals more than you thought of big, gigantic metal tubes that you hurtle through the sky. You might actually get further. You might actually experience more. A lot of people do that every day. The technology is going in that direction. But why hasn't our space program? That's the thing that puzzles me. It's as almost as if they want people to be ignorant of the fact that they could leave or that they could contact other areas of the country, maybe even other countries, maybe other planets. Not every American citizen would think that way. Some people just want to pay their bills, get their delivery to shore. It's to shore. And that's life. That is life. I want more. I want more in a way that it's just, it permeates my entire being. It's really easy to buy property, stick your fucking head in the sand, and just say, that's it. They've stopped bothering me. I don't have to care about anything anymore. It's like, now I care about this country. I care about saving this country. And the only way to save this country is to change. To build brand new cities that accept who we are inside. We're rich, entitled fucking cunts. We all want to be that. So why not just admit it and say, fuck it. Everyone gets bumped up a fucking notch. And it's not throw money at people. If you think that is what people really want, you are wrong. Everyone says, I want to be rich, I want to be wealthy. It's no. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just want the big screen television, food, shelter, and they're set. That's a little sad. But guess what? That's their choice too. And maybe if they had that without, do you want fries with that? Or, I don't know, how much is going to cost to repair a car? I guess I'll ask someone else who probably paid more attention to automotive school. Miserable Americans in miserable jobs because that's the puzzle. Why do you want to be miserable in America? Why do you want miserable people in America? Miserable people have been filling jobs and they have been customers. Miserable people don't become farmers usually. Because if they were, they'd be happier. Not everyone would be happy as a farmer, but some people would. And how is it that I guess it isn't really the government's place to tell you what job you'd be best at. There is no fucking sorting hat ceremony. But isn't there? Every search you do on the internet, every conversation that you have, every video game that you play, or every song you listen to, and you keep on repeat, it tells an algorithm who you are. And we do have this regretful Apple intelligence, which for the longest time I tolerate because it just interrupts me and just bothers me all the fucking time. Shouldn't we just have AI guidance counselors? Wouldn't that kind of make sense? Shouldn't we have just a way to tell people if you don't want to be homeless, you're not going to be homeless? We have land across the country. We have social programs. We have just good, decent people who can do the right thing. You can't really be miserable if you are doing what you love. You can't really be miserable if you are being loved. Once again, an area that America doesn't really have, government oversight. And, know, can we teach you some pickup lines, or can we order you to go to speed dating? I get it. I get it. Nobody wants to be fucking pressured into finding a partner. Nobody wants to just fall in love with a stranger. But we fall in love with strangers on television all the fucking time. We fall in love with musicians. We fall in love with everyone except for who's right in front of you, who's available, who could love you back. So, no, I guess there's not going to be a government oversight of it. But couldn't we at least ask people? Couldn't we at least ask the American people, when you wake up and there's no one next to you, how does that make you feel? Some people, they're okay with that, but other people aren't. And yeah, if they want to be miserable, I guess that's also a right. But couldn't we at least ask them, are you miserable? Do you know what's available? I don't know. The amount of pressure I feel to actually be that village leader who says, I'm going to put a message board you on the next podcast.